Hey everybody, welcome back into the Sampleist. My name's Greg. Today we're exploring a gorgeous new offering from Fracture Sound's Brass Soloists. This library captures the warmth and richness of classic British brass bands, featuring 4 of the UK's finest soloists across 5 instruments: the soprano cornet, the cornet, flugelhorn, tenor horn and euphonium. With 3 microphone signals, close, room and far, you'll have full control over your sound. The advanced legato performance engine ensures a smooth, natural flow to your melodies, and with placement options, you can position the instruments exactly how you want in your mix. Brass Soloists comes as a compressed download at just 24 gigabytes. It runs beautifully in kontakt version 6.7, and yes, it is compatible with the free kontakt player too, so no additional software is needed. A big thank you to Fracture Sounds for providing a copy of Brass Soloists for today's review. And as is always the case at the Sampleist, we pride ourselves on editorial independence, which means that Fracture Sounds have had absolutely no input into the making of this video. So rest assured you have our unbiased opinion. Stick around as I dive into some key presets, and I'll also share a short composition I created with Brass Soloists. If you enjoy these insights into virtual instruments, please take a moment right now to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. Okay, let's jump in. So welcome into Kontakt. Here we are. I've loaded up an instance of the tenor horn, which is one of the 5 instruments you get with Brass Band Soloists. There's a cornet, soprano cornet, flugelhorn, tenor and a euphonium. And when I heard that Fracture Sounds were coming out with a new brass offering, I was always intrigued, as I am with all their offerings. I had to listen to the demos and it sounded gorgeous. So I'm really grateful to Fracture Sounds for giving me the chance to have a look at it in depth here. I'll say more about what I really like about Fracture Sounds as a company overall, but straight out off the bat, there's a consistency with all their user interfaces and a consistency in their branding. That creates a sense of familiarity that carries from one instrument to the next. So having a brief look at the features across the page very briefly: dynamics, which is your mod wheel controller; color, which is like an EQ; the stereo width and controlling the reverb. There are 8 buttons or tablets controlling the articulations, a lovely selection of articulations, not too many to confuse you, but all the ones you really need. And you get a legato in a vibrato version and a non-vibrato version. There's a sustain, vibrato and non-vib, staccato, short tenutos, long tenutos and performance shorts, which we'll talk a little bit more shortly. Over on the right, the close, mid and far microphones to control, and in the bottom left-hand corner, there is an instrument placement panel which allows you to customize where you want to place your instrument in the field, of the stereo field. There is a legato settings engine and some global controls, which we'll talk a little bit more later. But I won't be going over everything in exorbitant detail because you can get all that detail over at the Fracture Sounds website and on their range of videos. So enough of the chatter, let's have a listen to the tenor horn from Brass Band Soloists. Is that a gorgeous vibrato legato you've ever heard? Isn't that just absolutely stunning? So for me, that particular patch kind of sets the scene for the whole instrument. It feels like to me that when I play it, the notes just fall out of my fingers. I don't have to think about it. My left hand in controlling the mod wheel feels expressive. It makes me want to play it, which is the hallmark of a great instrument. A quick taste of the non-vib version, just as lovely, without the vibrato. The sustained vibrato, so not being a legato, allows you to play chords if you would like. Also a lovely, beautiful vibrato. And it's that vibrato that hangs on the end of the note that really gives it that lovely warmth, brassy sound that's, I think, really is the hallmark of a lovely brass player. And likewise, the sustained non-vibrato. Lovely punchy staccatos. And with tenuto as well. And of course a longer version. Absolutely gorgeous. And I don't know if you can hear it from the recording from your perspective too, but it's a really, really warm sound. And finally, the performance shorts, which is a velocity-controlled shorts articulation. So playing short or light velocities triggers a short articulation. But hitting the keys harder triggers a longer sample. So giving you the chance to play some longer and shorter staccato sounds. Turning our attention momentarily to the bottom panel, I'll just very briefly introduce these features, but I'll refer you over to Fracture Sound's own website, where you'll see a video by Marcus Warner taking you into a far more in-depth overview of these features. But that said, the instrument placement allows you to place your instrument in the stereo field, either in its in situ form, or you can select one of these dots to place it in that field, or you can also place it in the center of the stereo field as well. The legato settings is quite interesting and well worth having a look at that detailed video of Marcus's that I referred to earlier. Let's say that the smart and classic versions are two different techniques on how the engine manages legatos. The smart version essentially is a look forward mechanism that is able to determine exactly what samples are appropriate for your playing style, and the classic version just gives you a bit more manual control. And then the global controls over here allows you to increase or decrease the dynamic range of your mod wheel slider, and you can also change the key switch range with this button here. So having covered off the features of the UI, you've been listening to the tenor horn. Why don't we take a moment to listen to a few select articulations to give you a flavour of the other instruments. First off, the solo cornet, which is at the higher register, higher than a tenor horn. It sounds like this. But the solo soprano cornet goes even higher again, ever so slightly, to give you much higher range to reach. Beautiful instrument. Lovely, really pierces through that top end. The flugelhorn is another beautiful instrument too. It's at the same range roughly as a tenor horn as I understand it, but a different qualitative sound. Really lovely. Don't know how I ended up on E flat, but there you go. And also the euphonium, a lovely, warm, deeper end of the spectrum. I love it particularly for the chords you can play, but let's have a listen to the vibrato. Truly lovely. This is one of those instruments I can just play with for hours and never tire of it. But let's put it to work and see what it sounds like in a compositional context. I'll show you that short composition. On the other side of that, we'll wrap up today's video with my final thoughts. A few words about the composition you've just heard. It consists primarily of an instance of cornet, a flugelhorn, a tenor horn, and a euphonium all coming together. I've also thrown in an instance of Fracture Sound's own Blueprint Epic Grand. For those who don't know, the Blueprint is a series of free instruments from Fracture Sound, so head on over there and check them out if you want to explore that line as well. And I've also added some soft bed of strings from another well-known vendor to bring it all together into what I hope you agree is that lovely, warm, brassy goodness. So now to my final thoughts. I'm fortunate enough to be a part of the Sampleist team where I have the opportunity to play with and review many virtual instruments. So it's rare for a vendor to break through the heavily saturated market and make me sit up and listen. Fracture Sounds is one such company, and they're racing up the charts and fast becoming one of my favourites. They're a young, smart team, a mixture of tech and musical savvy who are creating very professional products that invite the composer to feel like they're using something that they've always used. The legato engine in Brass Band Soloists is the standout, allowing the notes to seamlessly stream together in a beautiful dance that never exposes its sampling origins. And although I can't play real brass, with Brass Band Soloists it almost feels like I can. It feels intuitive, intimate. The composition I wrote for today's video just fell out of me quite quickly because I felt there was no friction. I didn't have to fight with it like I do with many other products. So if you're in the market for an intimate, warm brass band library, you could do a lot worse than invest in Brass Band Soloists, currently on intro price of $129. For me, this is one to jump at while you can. And with that, it's time to wrap up. Thanks to you if you made it this far. I hope you enjoyed today's video. On your way out, please smash the like button, hit subscribe and ring the bell, and you're good to go in the world of virtual instruments. For now, this is Greg Revell signing off, and as always, I urge you, please find your sound and find your soul. I'll see you on the next one.